Orangutans are ancient great apes that belong to the subfamily Pongini. On the genetic level, they are considered the closest relatives to humans. They differ from other great apes by their quite distinctive facial expressions. Orangutans are relatively peaceful and calm animals that suffer from human activities, which leads to a decline in their population. They are the only surviving representatives of the Pongini subfamily living in the wild today. Civipithecids and Gigantopithecids also once belonged to this subfamily, but they met a sad fate and disappeared from the face of the earth. Much about the origin of these animals remains unclear, so various hypotheses are used to explain it. Fossils of Civipithecids have been found in the Indian subcontinent. Since their skeletons share structural similarities with those of orangutans, there is a hypothesis that orangutans descended from Civipithecids. Another theory suggests that orangutans originated from hominoids that once inhabited the region of present-day Indochina. There are several other theories, but none has been universally accepted as definitive. In 1760, when Carl Linnaeus published his work Systema Naturae, the world first learned about the existence of Bornean orangutans as scientifically described representatives of living nature. In 1827, René Lesson described the Sumatran orangutan. For a long time, they were considered subspecies of a single species, but only in the 20th century did scientists determine that they are distinct species. It was not until 1997 that specialists discovered another species, the Tepanuli orangutan, and it was officially recognized only in 2017. This species inhabits the island of Sumatra. Despite this, genetically it is closer to the Bornean orangutan subspecies than to the Sumatran one. Interesting to know. The DNA of these animals changes significantly more slowly compared to the DNA of chimpanzees and humans. Scientists suggest that genetic analysis indicates that orangutans are the closest of all modern hominoids to their distant ancestors. The primary natural habitat of orangutans is swampy tropical lowlands covered with dense forest. Orangutans spend almost their entire lives in trees. These animals formerly inhabited extensive territories across Southeast Asia. Nowadays, their range is quite limited, as they are found only on the islands of Sumatra and Borneo, Kalimantan. The population of Bornean orangutans is significantly larger. They are found across almost the entire island, at altitudes up to 1,500 meters above sea level. In the northern part of the island lives the subspecies Pongo pygmaeus pygmaeus, the subspecies Pongo pygmaeus morio inhabits more southern areas, and the subspecies Pongo pygmaeus wormbii is found across large territories in the southwestern part of the island. Sumatran orangutans, along with the Tepanuli orangutans, live on the island of Sumatra, but their habitats are isolated from each other. The Sumatran species is found in the northern part of the island, while the Tepanuli orangutan inhabits the Batang Toru forest, located in the province of South Tepanuli. This species occupies an area no larger than 1,000 square kilometers. Orangutans tend to avoid descending to the ground, preferring to live in large trees growing in vast and dense forested areas. They jump from tree to tree, using lianas even when the distance between trees is considerable. Orangutans do not settle near bodies of water because they dislike water. Unlike many animals, they do not need to visit a watering hole, as they obtain the necessary moisture from plant foods, and they also drink water collected in tree hollows. An important point, most adult male Bornean orangutans have cheek pads, flanges, which indicate their readiness to mate with females. In contrast, among Sumatran orangutans, only dominant males possess cheek pads and can mate with certain groups of females. The basis of the orangutan's diet consists of plant-based foods such as leaves of various tropical plants, young shoots of different vegetation, tree bark, buds, fruits of many trees, nuts. They also like honey and deliberately seek out wild bee colonies despite the dangers involved. Unlike other primates that descend to the ground to access honey, orangutans eat honey without coming down to the ground. An orangutan will only appear on the ground if it sees something tasty, however, it will not eat grass. Their diet also includes animal-based foods such as insects and their larvae, as well as bird eggs and chicks. Sumatran orangutans hunt small primates such as lorises, especially during poor years when plant food is scarce. The diet of Tepanuli orangutans notably includes cones and caterpillars. Orangutans do not always obtain the necessary nutrients, so to balance their diet they may swallow soil. Their metabolism is quite slow, which makes them appear lethargic. Despite this, orangutans eat little and can go a long time without food. Even after 2 days of fasting, they do not appear exhausted. Interesting to know. The name orangutan comes from the call orangutan, which local residents used to warn their compatriots when these animals appeared. Translated, it means forest person. In the former USSR, they were called orangutans, and such terms are still sometimes used today. In reality, this is not an official name. In Malay, the word orangutan means debtor. Character and lifestyle. These monkeys prefer a solitary way of life, consistently staying high in the treetops. Because of this, observing their behavior is not easy. For a long time, their behavior remained a mystery. Even today, it has not been fully studied how orangutans live. Despite this, modern researchers are aware of the main aspects of orangutans' lifestyle. Orangutans are characterized as intelligent animals because they use various tools and adaptations to procure food. If an orangutan is kept in captivity, it quickly develops habits characteristic of humans. These animals have a wide range of vocalizations, which they use to communicate, expressing emotions such as anger, irritation, threats, warnings, and more. Both their arms and legs are well adapted for life in the trees. They move easily from branch to branch using both their hands and feet, which allows them to cover impressive distances between trees. Orangutans even sleep in trees, and they feel uncomfortable on the ground. To feel comfortable, orangutans build nests for themselves. Every individual must be able to construct a nest, and this skill begins developing from an early age. Young orangutans do this under the supervision of adults. Creating a reliable nest takes several years. Since nests are built at considerable heights, they must be sturdy, otherwise, the orangutan could fall and injure itself. Until they reach a certain age, young orangutans sleep in their mother's nest. Afterward, the mother no longer allows her young to sleep with her, so they have to make their own nests, which helps them adjust to independent life. Nests are comfortable and reliable. To make the nest soft, they use many leaves, covering themselves with broad-leaved branches on top. When kept in captivity, orangutans quickly learn how to use blankets. Living in the wild, these animals can live about 40 years, but in captivity, they can live over 50 years. Average lifespan. The average lifespan of orangutans in the wild is 35 to 40 years, and in captivity, it is 50 years or more. They are considered the longest living primates after humans. There are known cases of orangutans living up to 65 years. Reproduction and offspring. Orangutans generally prefer to live solitarily, with each male owning its own territory. Usually, they do not violate the boundaries of neighboring territories. If such incidents occur, the territory owner makes noise and displays his canines to intimidate the intruder. The conflict usually ends with one male acknowledging he is weaker and leaving the area. However, fights sometimes do occur. Compared to the social structures of gorillas and chimpanzees, orangutans' social structure is fundamentally different. Orangutans prefer solitary living, so the main social unit consists of a female and her offspring. Males prefer to live alone. For example, Sumatran orangutans are known for the fact that one male may mate with a dozen females. Orangutans are occasionally seen in groups, but this usually happens only when they find a fruiting tree abundant with food. At that time, they communicate with each other using a variety of vocalizations. Sumatran orangutans show more group-oriented behavior than Bornean orangutans, Kalimantan orangutans. Experts note that Sumatra has more predators and more food resources. By forming groups, these animals feel safer. Females become ready to reproduce after reaching 8 to 10 years of age, while males mature about 5 years later. A female usually gives birth to a single infant, although twins or triplets are very rare. Offspring are born at intervals of 6 to 9 years, which is a comparatively long period for animals. Birth rate surges directly correlate with food abundance observed on the islands during the same period. It is important to consider that the mother bears the responsibility for raising the offspring. For the first 3 to 4 years, she nurses the infant, and after that, the young orangutans continue to live with their mother for about the same period before becoming independent. An interesting fact. Experts, based on observations, have established that orangutans also communicate with each other through gestures. They have identified about 60 different gestures. Orangutans use gestures to draw attention to a particular event. They also use gestures to invite their peers for mutual grooming. Here's the video. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time.